Come follow me.
I felt called by love through you. When I was in Argentina, I joined the very first online event. You were giving a session and you said, Marina in Argentina is bilingual. She's like a diamond in the river. We need to go and catch her. And in that moment, I felt the love of Christ calling me to join you in the community. And a few days later, I was on a plane. And for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you.
Well, there was one time when I was on tour and showed up for a gathering somewhere in the Midwest with Helena Hunison and Ricky, and I went into a mystical experience as they were setting up for the gathering, and I felt like a child, completely clueless. So Ricky popped me in a closet, and I just sat there in this closet like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna hold a gathering? And you called me. Out of the blue, just like that. It was just one time. There are so many. I love you.
Love called me through you when we met at the first retreat in Australia, in Noosa, there with Francis. And I recognized through you and the ones you were with that it was really possible to give my life to this direction. And then when we were at the Mystery Bay retreat together and I had emotion coming through and you just took my hand and held my hand through the whole time there. And that's when I really felt love calling me.
Love called me through you ever since we met in Beijing, where I was crying in KFC in front of you. It's been a process of being convinced, being called ever since. And it's hard to say a lot in a short clip.
Love called me through you when I was invited to a gathering and I had never met you before. I'd never even seen your face, didn't know who you were. But as soon as I saw you sitting at the table, I knew who you were. And as soon as the others that were traveling with you started to talk, it was very, very clear to me that this was the only way to live. This is take 29. It's getting funnier every moment. I don't know how to do this, to share all my gratitude in such short time. But David, thank you so much. The moment you really called me was 11 years ago when I saw you for the first time on that retreat in Holland. And when you entered the room, I just felt like a deep recognition that was so far beyond the personal, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful still for that moment, even though I had to go through 5 years of resistance. I feel you so deep. Thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Love called me through you from the first moment I met you in Manhattan. Love continues to call me through you in every phone call, in every demonstration, and in every way. I appreciate you beyond words and love you, bro.
Many years ago when I was in college, I was going through a very deep and intense dark night of the soul experience, and I somehow found your email one day, David, on one of the sites, and I sent you an email out of total desperation that night. And when I woke up the next morning, you had sent me a reply to my email, and you mentioned in there that you were with me all the way, and to me that meant everything. So thank you.
Love called me through you when I saw your sparkling eyes on YouTube. And since then, love has called me through you with every reminder of purpose. And at the monastery, I remember when I just arrived and I gave you my first hug, I just felt the love of God. And you told me back then, the script is written, you can relax. And that's been a message I've been carrying with me since then, and I am forever grateful for you.
First time I watched an online movie gathering with you, David,
I was just so excited and my mind got completely blown open and I felt so much joy, and I feel that's what this calling has been, coming through you and calling me into so much happiness and joy and love, and yeah, I'm just so grateful.
El amor me llamó a través de ti, David, en uno de los momentos más desesperados de mi vida. Estaba de rodillas orando por ayuda. Y unos minutos después, inesperadamente, recibí un mensaje en Messenger que decía te amo. Y eras tú, David. Y en lo más profundo de mi corazón sabía que era la respuesta a la oración de mi corazón. Mi corazón en ese momento estalló de pura alegría. Eterna gratitud por ti, David. Te amo.
When we were at the Playa del Carmen retreat in Mexico 6 years ago or so, and you told that parable of your grandfather after he passed away, you were really angry with God. And then God spoke to you and said, I had nothing to do with what happened. And then I had such a mystical experience after you shared that.
Love called me through you when I attended my first retreat with you in England in 2013. I feel like that weekend completely changed my life, and I knew I had found my calling. I knew that I couldn't go back to my old life. All I wanted to do was leave everything behind and follow the Spirit. I also had given up singing before I came to that retreat, and something happened where I was activated again to sing, and all I did all weekend was sing. I was just so inspired, and I felt like my heart was open again.
It was in 2017, and I've been editing the movie with Francis for half a year, and I was about to leave. Then Lisa asked me if I wanted to be part of a new TV show, and it was perfectly timed, just before the pandemic. So she called David and gave me the phone and told him that I've said yes, but I couldn't find the words. Everything disappeared, and the only words I could say at that moment was one simple sentence: I only want to know what real love is. And at the moment, I didn't realize it, but that sentence was a doorway into everything.
So one moment that stands out for me was years ago at the monastery. I remember going for an evening walk, and I found you, David, looking out over the canyon at the sunset, and I just had this feeling of being completely taken care of, and all this gratitude surging through me. The tears were coming down my face, and you hugged me, and all I could say was thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you.
Love called me through you when, during the 2018 Quantum Immersion Retreat, you demonstrated over and over again that peace and joy are not just nice ideas for you only, but a present moment invitation for me as well.
In the beginning of the year of 2023, I had a vision that you gave me a big hug in the middle of the garden of La Casa. At that point, I'd never met you in person, and I'd never been to La Casa de Milagros, and I had no idea. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. But then in October that year, you gave me that hug.
I remember there was a time years ago when I was arguing with you about some Ken Wapnick teaching, and you were very patiently explaining to me why it wasn't true. And yet I just kept arguing and arguing, and I could feel that's when I could feel that you really loved me unconditionally, that you weren't getting angry or you weren't judging me. And I think that's what's always touched me the most, is how incredibly kind and patient you are with everyone.
Love called me through you when I was going through an angel bath. And I heard at some point your voice whispering my name. I melted, and then looked you in the eye and you told me, this is it.
When I was given the function of compiling Jesus, the Gospel of Love, and I felt it was Jesus trusting me through you, David, and that was such a beautiful gift for me. Just to feel that love and that trust coming through you, strengthening that relationship with love. So thank you for that.
The love called me through you 2 years ago when I come for the first time to Mexico. And I remember that you said me something very deep that touched me my heart. That was, your true vocation is the healing that you're mine. I think that after this, I give completely my life to Jesus. Thank you so much for calling me one another time to the love, David. I love you.
Love called me through you every single time. I think I cannot pick a moment because I feel that you are calling us, calling me, everyone, all the time, because you are constant and you are changeless. And that's your presence. You are just pure presence. And I'm so grateful that you exist. And yeah, I love you so, so, so much.
David, okay. Many years ago, we were at a restaurant and I ordered some grapefruit juice. In the middle of my sentence, I stopped. And then I said, oh, you probably don't have that. And then you were on the side of your mouth said, yeah, that's very intuitive. Yeah, like just a mentioning of things like out of the side of your mouth, the spirit just comes through and just blesses us with the gifts. You acknowledge our gifts and our strengths. So eternally grateful. So much love. Thank you, David, forever.
When I was praying for a spiritual community and a teacher, and I found you in YouTube, just my heart recognized that I really wanted to follow you, and it was lifted up with all your teachings and love and the witness of Jesus' teachings and a demonstration of God's love. Thank you. Love you.
I met you for the first time at a retreat in Holland. I specifically remember that you played a song, Turning to Peace, and we were both meditating to it, and it was a most powerful experience where I just felt I found my home, and this was my calling, and this was it, this was my life. And I remember meeting you after that for the first time with bright blue eyes that gave me so much love, and just listening to what I had to say, and the biggest hug.
Love has been calling me through you when you showed up at my church all those years ago and brought a clarity that showed me living a life like Jesus is possible in this world. You've chosen to use this life to call others to you, to Jesus, and being in connection with you and this purpose that you've set has given me so many opportunities to find my real gift and extend it and share it with those who want to hear.
The love called me through you, through your joy, your kindness, your patience, your love, and with this beautiful experience that for me was beyond to the word, the telepathic experience that I feel since the first communication that we have. And I remember that in the first month that I was here, I have intensive experience with my body, and my body was shaken. And without you know anything, you always call me and came and hold me and love me and wait with me that crossing this experience. Thank you so much. I love you.